So, Eugene has a PhD in machine learning, and he has been active in the commercial space of applying machine learning and data science for the past 20 years. He does that mainly with his company Prescient, where he offers training courses on machine learning and data science, as well as consultancy services, as you will see here today. He's also involved in various other machine learning flavored enterprises, and is the leader for Project Genes around especially our visualization, the tool ggRaptor. Some of you might have used that. I think this is as short as I can get your introduction, so please join me in welcoming Eugene Dubossarsky with that mouthful of a talk. Welcome.
Thank you for all too kind introduction, Fabian. And can I please have a hand for Fabian for how well he runs these things, because I never get to see it. These things would not happen without the CBA folks and Fabian. They just make this happen every time. So yeah, big thanks to all of them. Thank you all for coming. Do my training courses. Thank you, the end. No, a few more things to say. All right. So I was thinking about what the title is. Olivia and I were sitting in a cafe. Guilty secret, I always do my slide talks at the last moment. Those of you who've seen me talk before will also know that I don't do pictures. It's all black and white. It's all in different formats. I do bold. You know how we had that great presentation before about how you do really good data science presentations? It was like the anti-Eugene presentation. Okay. Anyway, stay tuned. Hopefully the content will be captivating. The title is Living the Dream 101 and How to Do Outlier Detection and maybe how not to do it all in 20 minutes. Because in the next 20 minutes, I'm going to do two very different things. I'm going to reflect on what it's like to work with Olivier and his team. And I'm going to say some awfully nice things about them. But I'm not just going to do it because A, they deserve it and I should be nice to my clients, because that's all true. But B, I'm also going to do it because I want to share with you some important things about data science practice, data science in the workplace, how you should choose where you work and who you work with. These are really, really important questions that I see a lot of data scientists make very badly. So I want to reflect on what it looks like when things go well, because very often I talk about the bad stuff. There's plenty of bad stuff out there. Let's focus on the good stuff today. And then I'm going to get all technical and geeky, and I'm going to tell you more or less how to do the low voltage error correct network detection stuff that Olivier's already told you about. I'll tell you about the machine learning geeky side of it. So let's go. So a bit of a disclaimer, something I should have put on that slide, which is I'm not an engineer. I knew very little about power systems and smart meters and so forth before I did this job, and that's okay. You know, people can sort of win Kaggle and not understand the subject matter of what the data they're analyzing, as long as the problem's been gotten to the point where it's digestible by a data scientist. More on that later. But more importantly, Olivia and I are being fairly generous with you in what we're telling you, but we're certainly not telling you everything. So one of my favorite quotes from Christopher Lee, who, apart from being an amazing character actor, was a completely phenomenal actual war hero in World War II. And once people asked him about his time in the Special Forces in World War II, and he said, "Can you keep a secret?" And they said, "Yeah." And he said, "So can I." Well, I'm not going to tell you everything, but I'll, hopefully be able to at least give you the things that I can give you. And again, this is for all of you aspiring, budding consultants, data scientists out there, protecting your clients and your partners' IP is very important. So we are in the intelligence business. If you're a data scientist, you're learning to use information to give, if you're especially in the commercial space, to give the people you're working for advantage, probably over someone else, probably someone who themselves has data scientists. So confidentiality, discretion, very important things. And big gratitude to Anya and Olivia for being able to share as much as I can share with you. So now I want to talk about a phrase I keep hearing. Apparently, I'm living the dream, according to some of you. Yes, it's true that I don't have an employer, which means I don't know where my next meal is coming from. Apparently, this is a good thing. Yeah, it's pretty good, actually. If you have clients, it's good. I've been in the not having clients phase. But yeah, look, some of you may aspire to this, and I hope many and all of you reach it. Is it living the dream? Well, get me drunk and I'll give you the good and bad points. But the point is that I see a lot of people say, well, it's pretty simple. I'm going to go freelance, then something happens and I'm going to make money. Who's familiar with the relevant South Park episode that slide is based? Very good. Anyone apart from Daniel? I think we have a few hands. Look, seriously, you do not want the gnome's strategy for how you structure your data science career, particularly your freelance data science career. In fact, if you want to have a serious chat about how to go freelance, and I might talk you out of it, we can do that. But it's very important that phase 2 not be one of the gnomes doing this, which is what happened in South Park. Step 2 matters. And the most important part of step 2 is having clients. Now, this is where it gets interesting, because a lot of people go, I have a client, tick. That's often disaster, because you have one client, they come and they go. Eugene's advice, you want at least 3. And you want at least 3 that you can expect to have as repeat clients. Otherwise, you're taking a big risk. But that's not the end of it. For most people, that's the end of it. You see, it's important to have good clients. Now, good clients doesn't just mean people who are going to pay me again. Although, oddly enough, what's good, as I'm going to describe it, often translates to, yeah, you'll probably do business with them again. So what I want to talk to you about is what is a good client, because I think I found one. Now, good clients, I'm not going to focus on what's a bad client. I've done a lot of that in other presentations. Maybe this is why some places haven't invited me back. I'm a bit of a doom and gloom guy sometimes. Let's focus on the positive. Now, everyone talks about how data scientists or good data scientists are unicorns. They're these rare combinations of completely unlikely features, and when you stumble on a good one, it's great. And well, I've got things to say about that. I mean, it's kind of true, but it misses a few points. And the point it misses is that in order to make use of a unicorn data scientist, you need to be a unicorn user of data scientist. You need to be a unicorn client. There are unicorn clients out there. They are. You've got to know how to spot them, and if you've got one, you hold on to them. They're great. The thing is, unicorn clients have a problem to solve, first of all. And when I say they have a problem to solve, that's not the same as they have budget and they want to pay you to do data science. Okay? Subtle distinction, I know, may surprise some of you, and some of you are probably thinking, which one am I in my workplace? Because statistically, I'd say about a quarter of you really ought to be thinking that. Because in many cases, the problem that some data scientist functions are solving is we need to be looking like we're doing some data science. That's the business problem. Not we have a business problem and hey, maybe, just maybe, data science is a solution, or maybe something else is, but we have a problem to solve. And yeah, it's good if they're switched on, fun to work with people. They're smart, they're energetic, they're interested in stuff, they're sharing ideas, you feel energized walking out of there, you don't feel exhausted. And here's the other interesting thing. A good data science client, they can already do data science. They're not hiring you because they don't know how to add. They're hiring you because they've done all the data science they can, and it's pretty good. They just want it better, which means they appreciate better. They understand what better means. They understand what accuracy means, and they want more of it. They've already measured it. They just want more. And they want to learn from you. They don't just want you to just do your thing and walk away. No, they want to pick your brain. They want what's in your brain. They actually want to learn. That's actually really good, because that means you won't be doing the same thing over and over again. And I don't know about you, but I didn't sign up for this data science gig to do the same thing over and over again. I want my clients to learn so I can do the next cool thing with them. A good client will have metrics in place to measure the quality of the solution. What does that mean? That's the opposite of, oh, you're here to do machine learning for us. Yes, I am. Fantastic, great. We've hired you to do machine learning, tick. So we know why we hired you. We've hired you for, we know what business application. We've hired you to do customer churn, tick. And you go, that's great. I've built you your customer churn model, and here is my, I don't know, precision and recall, or area under the curve, or better yet, some sort of customer lifetime measure, something nice and relevant based on the model you've built. And they'll go, we don't understand what that means, but we're so glad you're here to explain it to us. And you're going, You don't understand the metric of the thing that you hired me to build for you? Hello? A good client does. A good client's, a good client is already being a good referee for the thing they've hired you to do better. So they'll understand when you've done a good job. If you need to explain to someone that you've done a good job after you've done a good job, not so good. If they will, it's like, imagine you're at a soccer game and the referee doesn't know what a point is. You go, wow, that kick was really cool, great. I just scored a point. I don't know what that means. That sounds very technical, but you're the player, you know about points. I'm a referee, I don't need to know about points. That's not a good client. A good client is a good referee of data science. And oddly enough, to be a good referee of data science, they've got to be doing some already. Anyway, so I think that having metrics in place, having ways of measuring what you're doing in place, this doesn't just apply to predictive modeling, but I'm zeroing in specifically on predictive modeling, which is to say supervised machine learning, and maybe not even supervised, but related methods. And more to the point, not only do they have metrics in place like, I don't know, mean squared error, area under the curve, things that sound very mathematical to those of you who don't know what they are, and those of you who do know go, those are still very mathematical. A good client goes, well, we don't just want a bunch of mathematical numbers. Life is not a Kaggle competition. This sort of life is like a Kaggle competition because more accuracy is good, but it's not a Kaggle competition because we don't care about area under the curve. We care about a dollar value or a risk value or something relevant to what we actually do, and we know how the accuracy of the model relates. You saw Olivier do it with his optimization curve. There was a sweet spot in terms of the optimal. The optimal saving based on a particular choice of the aggressiveness in the model, which is incidentally something I also cover in my introductory predictive modeling course, where I talk about finding the right. You didn't think I wouldn't, did you? So a good client has measurement in place, and they have value measurement in place, not just the abstract mathematical stuff. You need both. And finally, they want good accurate models, they appreciate good accurate models, and then they deploy those good accurate models and they benefit from the accuracy. They go, look at the dollars, and they do presentations like this. So they appreciate your work for the right reasons. Okay, so it's not enough for people to say, well done, good data scientist, now go back in your box. We really like the cute, pretty visualizations you've produced. Those visualizations are great. We don't understand them, but it's not our job to understand them. We're going to freight forward them to more important people who also don't understand them. And we're all going to be patted on the shoulder for having data scientists on the books. And the fact that you've got a PhD is great. That looks great on this glossy brochure. We have no idea what you do. We don't care. That's not being appreciated for the right reasons. You'll still have a job. You'll still be paid the up to $250,000 a year that they pay for that kind of thing. You will not live with yourself if you have any decency. On the other hand, the client who says, you're the guy who took us with our 75% AUC and took us to our 80% AUC, you just brought in this many millions of dollars into the organization, you're awesome, that's who you want to work for. They're great to work with. So I just wanted to say all of that as a way of saying thank you, Olivier, Pierre, David, etc., and Ania are amazing guys for these and other reasons. They also know where the good cafes are in Melbourne. Whenever you go to Melbourne, find good locals and let them tell you where the good places are in the laneways in the CBD. Very important. That's one of the top 3 reasons to have friends in Melbourne. So, is your client or your employer a unicorn? Well, here are some questions. Does predictive accuracy matter to your client? Does that accuracy translate to value? Again, I'm focusing on predictive modeling, but this applies more broadly. This applies to BI. If we were talking about BI, the questions would be rather different, but the spirit would be the same. And does the value grow the success of your work? In other words, does the value that you've delivered translate to the people who've delivered it, the team that delivered it, being appreciated, being promoted, being given more work, being given more resources? Is, to quote someone here, maybe here or not, a rather clever data scientist who once walked out of one of these meetings when I first met him, and he said, data science is great, it's eating companies alive. And that guy, that guy was working for the right kind of company, because in his company, data science was eating the company alive. I don't think it's eating a lot of companies alive, actually, but it's eating some alive. And it does when the value translates to growth, rather than, oh, that's very nice, we don't understand what it did, or, these data scientists are getting uppity, this could be a political problem, or, I don't know, let's get excited about blockchain this year, because, buzzwords. I actually like blockchain, but I don't like people getting excited about the things I like for the wrong reasons. And the sort of people who get excited about analytics today and blockchain tomorrow usually don't know much about either. Sometimes they do, sometimes they do. Interesting to talk to people about how the two come together as well. Anyway, that's kind of mini talk number one, and that's where I'm sharing with you things that maybe some of you are just scratching your heads and going, I don't know what that was about. And some of you are going, oh my God, I'm not in one of those. And some of you are going, this might be, I'm hoping some of you are going, this is probably useful advice. I'll consider this when I'm considering my next job, because I think you should. And particularly if you're planning to get out there on your own and freelance. So probably a good time for quick questions, just while they're fresh in your heads, because we're about to go into a completely different territory. This is like mini talk number one. I'll take 2 questions, and then you can ask more at the end.
Do you have any particular industries or companies that you would say are particularly good as unicorns? We won't talk about bad ones.
Yes. Okay. I think the segmentation will surprise you. In terms of industry, I'd say you'd have more luck with something like sports betting, financial trading, political parties, armies at war. Anywhere where there's an adversarial situation with extreme catastrophic outcomes with failure, or a zero-sum game where one loses, one wins. That's one segment. The other segment is you tend to want to be often in a situation where you're dealing with with someone who has what Nassim Nicholas Taleb calls skin in the game. Taleb is a controversial figure, but he has a few very interesting and important ideas, and skin in the game is one of them. Not always necessary, but sometimes necessary. And sometimes it's not skin in the game. Sometimes it's just a certain level of personal integrity and ability. So I always say there's only 2 horsemen of the apocalypse, evil and stupid. You want the opposite of evil and stupid. Question? Sorry? No? Yes? Sorry, later. Yes?
Did you have a code of conduct when you started your business? What kind of program did you work with or not?
Look, I evolved this the hard way. This my code of conduct. I have another Taleb idea. Actually, it's not a Taleb idea, but it's something he's resurrected. It's called via negativa. And via negativa is a nice way of saying, keep banging your head against things until you realize it hurts and then stop. You work out all the things that hurt and you look at what's left. Code of conduct, I don't think I can afford it. I'd starve if I had to do that. I'm an individual consultant. No one's perfect, okay? No, there is no nirvana out there. And the thing about unicorns is the unicorns are extremely rare. I'm not telling you that every single one of your clients should be one of those. I'm telling you, if you find one like this, they're rare and you're very lucky, and hold on to them. Does that make sense? And that's just one. You need more than one client if you're going to be a freelancer. There are reasons why most of my income comes from training. So I'll take one more question. What the heck? Yes. That hand was just so straight up, has to be answered.
Hi. So do you bother thinking about like how to convert a bad client to a new good one?
Okay, this is a very good question. I'll preface the question by saying this seems to be the spirit of most large-scale transformation efforts in the analytics space. So they don't say we're going to take a completely useless data not ready anti-analytics culture and we're going to drag them into the 21st century. They don't say that. But that's effectively what a lot of the high-end sort of analytics transformation projects seek to do. I think I'll be too humble to rule it out as an impossibility. I'll merely say that I've seen personally very little evidence that it's possible. However much money, effort, etc. is spent on it. So I've stopped thinking about it. It's one of the walls I've stopped banging my head against as part of my via negativa. which doesn't mean I won't accept money for it. I'm allowed to quietly think it's not possible. Look, actually, sometimes it is. Even in life, it's not impossible, but it is tricky. It really, it's about a rare combination of factors at the top. It's possible, but if the factors aren't there, you can't make the factors be there. If you're not the person with the power to put the factors in place. And the factors have to do with the understanding, the incentives, and the empowerment of the people at the top. Those three things have to be in place, particularly the incentives. You can, if you had to pick one, it's the incentives. Because if people have the right incentives, they can gain the understanding and they might even gain the power. I'd say it's incentives, power, understanding in that order.